Hi, good morning. Today we are going to interview to my classmate. What's your name?
Ariana Sanchez.
When science have you been studying English?
Well, I have been studying English since I was 5 years old.
5 years old. So
Yes.
why did you live in the United States?
Yes, I used to live in the United States. I went there when I was 5 years old, and since then, all elementary school and half of middle school, I
That's,
studied
in,
on there.
that's interesting. So I'm gonna make some question about how you are acquiring the English language.
Yes.
So the first question is, what kind of activity do you like to do in the classroom?
Well, I like to do a lot of grammar activities because in that part I don't know a lot of grammar. I can speak English and all of that, but the grammar I don't understand. So I like activities of grammar.
You know the English, okay, you can speak in English, but you don't have the knowledge in the grammar.
Yes.
Okay.
In speaking and reading, I'm good,
You are
but
good. Okay.
in grammar, I'm not.
What kind of material do you prefer in class?
Well, paper sheet where I can make the activities. The teacher give us the paper sheet with all the activities, and I like to do it.
What about videos or
Videos too, cause there I practice more and I see how it's writing. Cause I don't practice since I started the university. I started hearing more.
hearing more? Okay. And about picture, do you prefer picture or videos or audio?
I prefer videos and audios.
Do you consider yourself visually or orally? If you learn more seeing or hearing?
Hearing,
Hearing.
yes.
Okay. Do you practice English in outside of classroom?
Yes, I practice with my classmates. From now, I'm telling them to practice English at home everywhere because I need to know it much better.
Okay.
Because here in Mexico, we need to know the Britannic English, the British English, and that I don't know. I only know American English,
You only know American
and I need
English.
to
It's
practice
very
the
different in pronunciation.
yes.
So, do you need that the teacher make miming in the classroom, moving the head or something else?
Do I need it?
Yeah. See, for understand the English.
Well, no.
No, you only need the videos or
Yes.
when you are studying in the classroom, how often do you participate in classroom activity, in presentation, or school activity?
I always practice because practicing I can speak it and I can speak it much more.
Right,
So I like to practice a lot.
Uh, don't you get nervous in classroom when you are talking in the
When I was in
public?
first semester, second semester, I didn't like to participate like a lot because I got nervous.
You
I
didn't meet nothing, nobody.
no.
Uh,
And now I practice a lot, so that nervous that I have inside can go out.
and how do you feel when everybody pay attention to you when you are talking?
Well, fine. I feel fine
It's easy for you to talk in public.
to talk in public.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
For example, when I go to another state, Cancun, where there's a lot of American people, I like to talk with them. And if I go with friends and all of that, I like to talk to them so they can take pictures and all of that. Because I'm a very social person.
Um, do you consider extroversion or introversion person in the classroom?
What is extroversion?
Extroversion is when you are talking much in the classroom, or introversion is when you feel shame.
I'm extroversion.
Extroversion.
Yes.
In what way can you figure out grammatical rules?
In which way? While practicing, and you know that in the book it has a part where the grammar is. I like to practice it, but I only practice it 3 times a week, and then in the weekends I don't practice it, so that's when I forget. I forget them, so I like one day after the exam practicing
Practicing.
the grammar.
What are the type of function of particular word can you identify when you are reading out text? Can you identify the function of word?
Sometimes,
Sometimes.
not all the time.
Not all the time. Okay. When you try to memorize a grammar rule or word in English, what type of activity do you do?
writing them,
writing
making
plans.
plans, making plans of it, and trying to memorize it. But then I keep forgetting it, so I try to make a lot of plans.
Do you have any technique more efficient than you overuse for memorize word to make plans and more
Speaking with somebody else
from somebody else?
that
When you
knows more grammar part, that knows the grammar part, and making a conversation with him or her, and that's when I keep memorizing.
you is the best way in which you can memorize rules, words.
Yes,
Okay.
vocabulary.
Do you think that the motivation and behavior of teacher have an influence on over you?
Yes, I like teachers that they're strict because there's when I learn more, and I know that the teacher is strict. I need to practice more.
Practice.
For example, now I have a teacher, an English teacher that is strict. The exams are from 7 sheets of paper, and I like to practice a lot because I know I need to know the grammar because if I don't, I'm gonna fail the exam.
So you need a structured teacher to
Yes.
learn more.
Since I
Okay.
was less in the primary school, I always had strict teachers. Even my parents, they were strict with me.
Okay. What's the best way in which the teacher motivate the student?
Letting us a lot of homework.
A lot of homework.
My teacher from now, she always take sheet of paper or exercise, and I like that because we're practicing. And some teacher, I have another teachers that they don't even go to school. They only the things that they have in the books. Those are the things that they're teaching us. So I don't like that. I like more exercises so I can see the different type of how the grammar part is.
Okay. How do you feel when you are studying in a big classroom, in a big group or a small group?
I like to be in a small group because the teacher is paying attention to the small group, and in a big and large classroom with a lot of students, if the teacher is strict, we're all paying attention to the class. But if the teacher is not as strict, she's like to be there and everything, she's not paying attention to all of us. And that's why I like a small group because she's paying attention to, if we're 15 or 20, she's gonna pay attention to each of us. And if we make groups, she's gonna go group by group, and that's what I like.
You have more attention in a
The
small
teacher
group.
have more
How do you
attention.
think that your age has influence in the acquisition of L2?
My age.
Your age.
Well, since I started from 5 years old to now, I think that I have been learning a lot. In my age, I think I'm being more professional. Because sometimes at home or in another place, they ask me, what does this mean? What is the grammar part of that? And that's what I don't know. I can tell them, translate what in a sheet of paper is. But in the grammar part, I don't know. So that's why now in my age that I'm right now, I know that I'm being more professional. Now I can say this is the subject, the object. I can make a subject and object question.
Is it difficult for you to learn English right now for your age?
No, I don't think so.
How do you think that the social dynamic influence the acquisition of the second language?
I think influence in learning much better the English. For example, in the communities out of the city, they need the student from 5 to 6. They need to learn it much better so they can go up higher.
Okay. Do you think how the identity of the student in the classroom impact?
Well, they need to know much better. They need to teach it much better because it's a language that in other words speak. And you need to learn it.
How the identity of the student bring repercussion in the learning of foreign language?
Well, they're gonna separate their language, and knowing another language when they get in an upper grade, they're gonna see, oh, I know this language, I can be a professional. When they finish middle school, they're gonna see, now I know two language. They're gonna be motivated to know another language, maybe 3 or 4.
Okay. That's all for the interview. Thank you so much for your attention to come.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Hello, my name is Maria, and you?
Misael?
Nandi. Now we are going to talk about the individual differences in second language learning. We are going to try explain about the chapter 3 and what types of individual differences students have. According to the interview, Mariana said she likes to speak English because she learned English when she was a child. She learned English at early age. According to the book Research Based on the Critical Period Hypothesis, if you are a younger, you can be able to learn easier English. If you are an adult, you can learn more easier. But in other world, the adult can learn easier English because the adult they use the metalinguistic knowledge. It is possible for an adult to achieve the ability to learn a second language.
What do you think that help
That age
help Mariana to learn English?
Because she learned English when she was a child. She lived in the United States when she was 5 years.
When she was 5 years
She
old.
was 5 years old.
5 years old.
And she feel
Comfortable practicing English.
Comfortable.
To
Comfortable.
learn
Comfortable.
to
Are you
learn
sure?
English.
She felt comfortable learning a new language because she was a child. Because she was a child, and the adulthood is more
It's
difficult
more
for them
complicated.
because they have the knowledge, they have the cognitive maturity, but when they are practice, they feel
Nervous to
Nervous
talk
to
about
talk.
in English.
nervous. To talk about it. Can you start?
One of the most important factors to learn a second language in the classroom is the motivation.
Motivation.
And I can see in the chapter 3 that motivation have an interesting effect in the students. So the students can enjoy more the environment in the classroom when the teacher can motivation behaviors to teach them, and in different ways they enjoy to come in the classroom. In one research by Mary and Sultan. They made a research in which they um, analyze some students, and they can observe the difference, the different ways in which teacher teach them. They can see teacher discourse and participation and structure, activity design, encouraging positive retrospective. This aspect were better in the to improve the knowledge, because the student can participate and pay attention, and they enjoy the environment in the classroom. But other researchers can find and can to give the ideas that these different ways to motivation of the teacher don't have effect, bad or good in the students.
In the students. So this point that we can find in the page 88 are necessary for have a good environment in the classroom.
So in this studio, they can to show the motivation is a good aspect to learn, but they can to show that this aspect to learn is not isn't have the positive and bad repercussion in the students.
So if you read this point, we can see that these are active activities, because in the two say participation is to grow work is are a activity in which the teacher make group, make team, and maybe that type of activity make them the student don't be boring in the classroom.
These aspects are good for the students.
Are good for the student because
But
they are
don't-
active.
Yes.
They are
But
active in the
don't
classroom.
But don't has cause effect.
Because in effect, it doesn't have in
The
the acquisition of the
the
knowledge of the
acquisition.
student.
Yes.
So how do you relate this motivation in the classroom with the interview we made to Mariana?
Well, Mariana says that she learned to second language in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that she don't think about when they go to when she
went to
went
United
to the
States.
United States,
Mm.
because they have the environment
The
to
enough
acquire-
environment to acquire the language.
It is it's a good manner when you are relation with the have to relation with the new is the language.
Another important individual characteristic in of the student is the personality. You know, in the chapter 3 we found that the personality is very important to acquire a second language. It could be good, it could be bad for improve the language which is learning. the personality in the personality we can find two important type of people, the extrovert people and introvert people. So according to Lin Wun, the extrovert people have more advantage over the people who is introvert, because the extrovert people always are practicing the language. They don't feel shame when they are talking with another people. So they don't feel anxiety. They don't feel shame. They don't feel fear to make mistake in grammar pronunciation, because they feel more sure themselves. So the introvert people could be a good student in grammar, could be a student with much knowledge about syntax, morphosyntactic, etc. But when they are talking with teacher, with classmate in English, they feel shame, and that to feel shame, to feel tension, to feel anxiety when they talk, is it has a lot of repercussion in the in the knowledge of the second language.
How do you relate this this point with the Mariana's interview?
I can relate because when we made the interview to Mariana, she told us that she considered an extrovert person. So because she told me that she liked to talk with her classmates. She likes to make activities in the board, and she don't feel shame when she is participating in public. So she told me that when she goes to Cancun, she always try to speak with foreign people. She speak with American people, with Canadian people, with people who she can to practice the English language, and so it's very good for her, because she can improve the knowledge and pronunciation in the L2. So but we can dismiss that she didn't work on the anxiety or tension, because she also told me that when she started studying in the university, she didn't feel sure herself, because maybe she have the enough knowledge to participate in class, but maybe because she didn't met nobody in the classroom, and she feel tension, anxiety, she didn't like to participate in the classroom in the first semester. But right now she is very active in the classroom.
According to ethnic group affiliation in this chapter, have repercussions because the student they feel the necessity to don't be better to the ethnic group, because they have different belief in when they had learning in this case other language. And one example is made with we're in 2000, in which Japanese students produce grammatical errors for fear that they may be perceived as considering themselves to be superior. In this case, Japanese students don't want to learn more because they feel and they believe that their knowledge will be more better in their group ethnic, in the ethnic group. And so it is a bad a bad repercussions because they don't want to improve their
The
capacity,
the capacity.
and language.
And so, how can you relate the ethnic affiliation with Mariana interview? So Mariana told us that when she went to United States when she was 5 years old, and she told us that she took 2 hour English classes after primary classes. So I think that she belongs to a ethnic group in the United States.
Yes, of course. I think that she was in any group when
She was learning.
in learning in the United
In
States
States.
because she just have the knowledge in one language, in this case the mother tongue, and she went to the United States and she tried to learn other language, and
It was a necessity for her to learn a new language.
and she forget or have the necessity to learn other language in this case because the environment was to learn. How do you think that this style have effect in Mariana style in this case?
According to Ray, there are two type of students: the visually and orally student. So the visually student are the type of student which needs a picture to watch a videos to understand more the knowledge to understand more the acquisition of the language. So because they need to relate a picture with a meaning.
They learn more seeing.
Exactly. They learn more seeing. The we can say that they receive more input by
The brain.
no by watching. So they are another type of student than they are orally. The orally students are the type of student which only learn hearing or listening to. So they only need an audios or a good explanation from the teacher. Sound exactly. They learn hearing. They are more. They only need a good explanations. So about a topic, and they will have. They will understand the English language. Mariana told us too that she practiced English in outside of classroom. She made plans. She tried exercise, grammar exercise. She tried to speak it with somebody else to practice English. So she belonged to the field independence because she tried to improve her knowledge about English outside of classroom. She had that motivation. She so she tried to be better every day.
What do you say me about the language learning aptitude in the learner?
According to John Carroll, language learning aptitude is the ability that a student have when they is the ability which the student learning quickly. So in the aptitude we can find when the capacity for a student to identify and memorize new sounds, how they figure out grammar rules, uh, how if they can identify the particular function of word in a sentence. So some students could be better in analysis languages, and another students are better in, or have a strong memory. But the student which have a good analysis language always be better than the student which have strong memories. So when we interview Mariana, we made a question in which way she figure out the grammatical rules, and she gave an answer than in the grammar exercise. That was the answer, but it wasn't a good answer because when we that type of question was if she can identify in a text the grammar, or what type of grammar is the text is, and when we asked about if she can identify the function of word, she told us, and she doesn't know much knowledge about that field. So, but she told us too that she practiced to memorize the word, making plans. Making plans, she made plans, and she made plans to learn word and to identify sounds. So when we made the question, what is the most helpful technique that she does, she told us that she always look for to practice with somebody else. So we can say that Mariana have a strong memory, but her language analysis is not good, because maybe when she is reading a text, maybe she can understand what she is reading, but if we ask her what type of word is this, she can't say us because her language analysis is not good. But she learned the language in a particular way. I think that they learn English like everybody in the degree. Everybody learn the English in that way because we always look for words and we learn the word, even if we don't know the part of the function of words.
Chapter 3 was interesting because we can see the individual difference in second language learning, and we can
identify the
characteristics. Each one of these.
It was so interesting because before to start studying this chapter, I didn't know that there are a lot of difference and characteristics for second language learning. It was so interesting because if we are gonna be teachers, we need to know about these characteristics.
And we don't know, and we didn't know how these characteristics influence in the students and teachers.
So it's so interesting to have knowledge about this, because sometimes if the teacher don't have knowledge about this characteristic, maybe the teacher don't apply the correct methodologies the teacher don't apply the good methodology to teach a student, and it's so important to know about this. So it was very nice to read all this chapter.